Hello and welcome to iGCSE Success. And if you're new here, a big hello to you. I'm an English teacher and I post content here on YouTube to prepare students for their Cambridge First Language English exam. And if that's what you're looking for, be sure to check out my previous videos where I break down a number of skills needed to succeed with First Language English. So let's get on with today's video. Now in today's video, I will be giving you 5 top tips for embedding your quotations successfully. This will be particularly useful for the writer's effect question, which is 2D and indeed 2C. Be sure to watch the whole video because I will be showing you at the end the easiest way to embed your quotations. Now my first tip is to keep your quotations short. You need to think to yourself, what are the powerful words within my quotation? Try and only quote these words and omit any unnecessary or additional information. You do not want to end up with a quotation which spirals onto the next line. 2, 3, 4 words max is perfect. Now number 2 is to try and use what we call literary present. When we analyze language, we treat the action as if it's happening in the present. Now this may involve you having to change the tense of certain verbs you have analyzed, and usually this means adding ing in square brackets or adding an s in square brackets, and it really is practice makes perfect. And in case you're wondering, those square brackets just means that we have made alterations to the original quotation. Now number 3 is to avoid using the word quote within your analysis, and whilst it may be easier to take the route of this is shown in the quote, it just ruins that overall cohesiveness to your writing. It makes your writing seem a little bit choppy. It's not as sophisticated. So I would always try and endeavour to embed your quotation. Now number 4 is to use some sort of transitional phrase before you embed your quotation. And again, this is really going to help with the overall structure, the overall cohesiveness of your piece. So you could use the writer begins by drawing our focus to, the writer begins by creating an image of, for example. And of course, tip number 5 is always read your paragraph back to yourself. If when you read your paragraph back to yourself, the way you've used your quotation seems a little bit clumsy or awkward, or the grammar seems slightly off, chances are you've not embedded your quotation properly. And remember, shorter quotations are far easier to embed. Now I'm going to give you a little walkthrough and show you how you guys should be embedding your quotation. Hi guys, so what you're looking at is a short extract from the 2020 specimen paper, and I've just highlighted a number of powerful images, and I'm just going to show you how I would embed these quotations. And of course, I have said on previous videos there are various ways of embedding quotations, some easier than others. Now the purpose of this video is not to analyze these images. I've done plenty of videos on the writer's effect question, so please do check them out. I'm just simply going to show you how to embed these quotations. So let's just take a read of the extract. At first, I thought it was a tram, but its shape was too organic, too lumpy, and it was going far too slowly for that, making almost no noise. It was swaying up the street with an even momentum in a rolling motion that was drawing it away from us like a tide, and every time it rocked forward, something about it made a soft dragging sound on the rails. As we watched, the thing sucked in air and then let out a deep groan. Now I guess what we want to try and avoid is doing something like this. The writer uses the quote making, let's put some quotation marks, making almost no noise. And I mean, if you are a teacher watching this video, no doubt many of your students presently, or certainly in the past, use textual references in a similar fashion. The writer uses the quote making almost no noise. Clearly the quote has not been embedded. It's not a very sophisticated way of using quotations. Okay, there's far better ways to embed our evidence that we get from the extract. So taking that image of this unidentified thing, which of course if you've read the paper you know it's an elephant, let's try and embed it in a far more seamless or effective way. So I personally would opt for the writer begins by describing that the unidentified thing. Okay, I need to delete some of that. So I would personally go with the writer begins by describing the unidentified thing making almost no noise. Okay, so let's look at our first quotation in use, I guess. So the writer uses the quote making almost no noise versus the writer begins by describing the unidentified thing making almost no noise. Notice how I've also given the quote some context, which is also a nice thing to do. So I've put describing the unidentified thing. And of course that quotation just fits in nicely. Grammatically it's sound and it ensures that your writing or your ideas, I guess, has that cohesiveness that Cambridge are certainly after. Okay, so you also want to avoid something along, or anything along the lines of, this is shown in the quotation swaying up the street. Again, you're not embedding the quotation if you do something along these lines. So I might be inclined to put, the writer creates an image of the thing swaying up the street. Okay guys, it just started raining, so apologies if the sound is not the best. Let's try and whiz through the rest of this video. So the next image is of the elephant, unbeknownst to Natalia, and it is described as rocking forward. Okay, notice how we've got the verb rocked forward. We want to try and change that so it's ing and matching up with our other verbs. So quite simply, I might be inclined to put, the writer then goes on to describe the thing, and then our square brackets, guys, to show that we have altered the quotation, rocking forward. Okay, the writer then goes on to describe the thing rocking forward. I'm just going to get rid of that little squiggle. Now the next image is of the soft dragging sound made by the unidentified thing. So I might be inclined to put towards the end, so an appropriate transitional phrase, guys. Towards the end, the writer focuses on the soft dragging sound being made by the unidentified thing. Towards the end, the writer focuses on the soft dragging sound being made by the unidentified thing. Notice how the quotation is just dropped in a very seamless manner. It doesn't ruin that fluidity to the idea in which I'm trying to express. That's really what you want to try and aim for. Apologies again, the rain has got quite heavy, but I'm determined to finish this video. So we've got two images left. Okay, the penultimate one is the thing sucking in air. So I would put, lastly, the writer goes on to describe the unidentified thing sucking in air. Whoops. Lastly, the writer goes on to describe the unidentified thing sucking in air. And of course, I've used the square brackets there just to show that I have altered the tense of the verb. And of course, for the last image, notice the verb to let. I'm just going to change that so it's ing. And of course, for the last image of the thing letting out a deep groan, I'm simply going to put the writer focuses on the unidentified thing letting out a deep groan. And there you have it, guys, a quick walkthrough on how to embed your quotations effectively. Again, apologies about the rain. I hope the audio is good enough so you can hear this, and I hope it's been useful. And that's all from me today, guys. I have got another video lined up, and that looks at the other sub-questions to question 2 of the 2020 specimen paper. I will try and get that all edited and uploaded, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. As you can imagine, life is pretty busy. We're getting ready to finish for the summer, so apologies about that, but I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.